What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into the video, I want to give a shout out to a couple of subscribers for showing love to the channel. Shout out to the brother, and I hope I'm pronouncing the channel. I mean, not the channel name, but the your name correctly. I think it's Dollar Up, Money Up and Up. Maybe that's what it is. Money Up and Up with your donation to the channel via the Cash App. Much respect to you for showing love once again to the channel. And I also want to give a shout out to the brother JJ Phantom for showing love with another donation. And he has a video request. And this is one of the questions that I don't think there's really an answer to. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. There's no sense. There's no real easy answer to this question. But he asked me, "What if Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant switch eras?" And he knows it's one of them silly questions because he did an LOL at the end of it. What if they switched eras? And Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant have so many similarities, with some differences, obviously, but they're so similar that if they switch eras, right? And when you say that, do you mean everything else is the same? Like the teams they played for, the rosters, the years, their ages, the collegiate or non-collegiate experiences, is everything else the same? Because if everything else is the same, then you still also got to ask yourself, are they still the same Kobe B. Bryant? Do they have the same similar circumstances, the same life situations and life experiences? Same thing with Michael Jordan, except for it happened in a later versus or earlier period. Like, is this how we going about this assumption? Like, I'm assuming you mean, is Kobe Bryant going to be drafted by the Bulls in '84, Michael Jordan by the Lakers in '96? Because, I mean, all I'm going to say is they're still going to be Hall of Famers. It's in them. It's in their DNA. Greatness is embedded in them. I can't put any numbers and figures. I'm not doing that. They're still going to be great. And I have no idea how their careers are going to go out. I have no idea how their careers are going to pan out. I can only talk about things I think I'm a little bit kind of more sure of. And it's that in this scenario, Kobe is the one who Mike looks up to. And Kobe's the one who Mike patterns his game after. And Kobe's the one who more or less will have some alterations in his game. Because he's not patterning himself after Mike, because Mike isn't the blueprint for ultimate greatness, at least at the perimeter position. The ultimate pattern, the ultimate blueprint for greatness in the '80s, if you're talking about guards or non-centers, well, hell, that would be guys like Dr. J, that would be Jerry West. Those are the guys. So. Hell, even some variations of Larry Bird, as far as maybe the fall away jump or whatever, or the fadeaway, whatever. So there's not one key guy I think that Kobe's looking at and saying, that's guy that I want to pattern my game after and maybe ultimately even exceed. I don't see that. Mike, I do believe, will be influenced heavily by Kobe in this scenario. But if this is an altered Kobe, then it's an altered Mike. Michael's game may be different, totally. Because now he's not patterning himself after Walter Davis or David Thompson, but he's patterning himself after Kobe, who himself is going to be different because now he's looking at other influences. So just these things, these changes, alters a lot, but they'll still be great. Okay? I think Kobe shoots far less three-pointers in this variation. Um, I think that he doesn't play as long. Also, instead of playing 20 seasons, maybe he plays 15 because I think his body's going to break down faster because the game is more physical. Being by the 80s and 90s. I'm not saying the 2000s and 2010s weren't physical, but the 80s and especially the 90s, especially in the Eastern Conference, was a lot more physical. And surgeries and, you know, they weren't as advanced. They were far more evasive. So I give him maybe 15, 16 years. Michael Jordan, oh, yeah, another thing, too. I don't think Kobe ever quits. I shouldn't say quit. I don't like that. I don't want to use that word. I don't think Kobe ever steps away from basketball. I think if something did terribly happen to, as far as a tragedy in '93 to a family member or his father, I think he still plays, but I think he probably has a down year. Obviously, I don't think he steps away and plays baseball or anything like that. Matter of fact, unfortunately, judging from what happened in real life, he and his father may not even be that close still. With maybe a reconciliation later on. Michael Jordan, I guess in this scenario, he's with the Lakers. He's going to be coming out of high school, Laney High, I guess. Similar trajectory as far as Kobe's concerned. Only thing about it is I think Mike would be a little bit more coachable at that stage. And he's going to let the game come to him a little bit more. So that might be a shorter learning curve for him. I do think that ultimately he's going to have something similar to Kobe, where he's going to want the team to be, he's going to want to lead the team. I think that he is going to be a Laker. He's going to identify as a Laker. He's not going to leave. So he might be the same. It might be the same situation where it's going to be either him or Shaq. And Shaq's probably going to get traded like he did in real life. I do wonder, I'm not going to put championships out there, but I think they're going to construct a team around Mike. Ultimately, that could be a winning team. And I think they'll be similar. I think they'll be similar, bro, really similar. That version of Mike, I think, would shoot a slightly lower percentage just because of the way the game was slowed down. They didn't have the driving lanes that they had in the 80s and early to mid 90s. Also, he's going to shoot more three-pointers. So his field goal percentage, instead of being around 50%, might be more around 46%. But he's still going to be a tremendous basketball player. And he's going to win championships. I just don't know how many. And I think he plays longer. And I'm not sure if he would step away from the game, depending upon how much he dominates basketball. But that's kind of just a little bit of what I think, But there's so many other things you got to look at, so many other variables, man. They're still going to be great. I'll put it like that. They're still going to be two phenomenal basketball players, no matter what era. Greatness is greatness. If you put George Mikan in today's game, I still think he'd be a great player. He just would have to make adjustments. And he may not be a 28 point per game scorer, but he's still going to be great in some aspect. Even if he's going to be a defensive stalwart, maybe still be a guy that scores around the rim, may not shoot as much, maybe averaging 18, maybe 13, and, 4 blocks or 3 blocks a night and get defensive player of the year, real legitimate defensive player of the year awards, unlike that fraud Rudy Gobert. But you guys know where I'm going with that, man. But anyway, that's pretty much how I feel about this. Tell me what you guys think.